Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Doctor Who and Pinball. Sorry, I just hit the mic there. Um, I've got my coffee mug here full of good stuff. And dang, I'm matching all over the place here with Stern and Stern. Um, Definitely a Stern fanboy, and I will admit that. But yeah, let's get started. Today I was gonna talk a little bit more, even though I'm wearing the pinball stuff, about Doctor Who because I feel like Doctor Who's been neglected the last couple of days. Um, I really want to talk about like how I got into Doctor Who, and then one of my favorite serials from the earlier era. Um, when I introduced this in my first episode, I got into it around 2011, 2012 time frame. My wife and I were just first married, and we just kind of fell in love with the character. We're like, this is super cheesy, and our friend told us like it is cheesy at first, especially that uh, initial Christopher Eccleston series. It was like, whoa, okay, this is. And watching it, like what 5, 6 years later, it wasn't too bad back then. The graphics were a little dated, but it's like okay, this isn't bad. It, like kind of remind us like we're used to watching sci-fi. Amy would watch sci-fi with her dad all the time, so this wasn't it wasn't too much of a stretch of the imagination that this was just a sci-fi show that was a little cheesy, and that's okay. But then like Davi started getting his feet wet into the property and started getting really good with David Tennant, and I really loved the Moffat era. I am a Moffat fanboy, just like a Stern fanboy. Moffat really knocked it out of the park with some of that stuff. There's like little kind of things that are kind of wonky about his season, but Russell T Davies said the same thing. I mean, Jonathan Nathan Turner did as well. Um, all these guys, right? There's every showrunner has at least one thing wrong, at least one thing. All right, okay, I'm not gonna get into into Chibnall. All right, but we just really enjoyed it, and to me, like I started learning more about the lore behind the character and all, and I realized that oh my goodness, this guy there's like a backstory behind him because like at first it's like okay, so this guy's name is the Doctor. He's had previous lives. You don't hear about him, but then you know when I was found out there's like an old two, and like these this has been continuing on for almost 50 years by that point. I was like, this is great. And so this was this was during the time when like Netflix had the rights, and so I only watched like the special episodes or whatever. They were good enough to put on Netflix, but it didn't have the full catalog. And then Amazon had it for a while, and then it changed. Now BritBox in America, that's the way we can consume it is BritBox. So if you don't have a BritBox subscription and you need Doctor Who in your life, there you go. You guys probably already have some of the DVDs and that sort of thing, but I just thought, man, the DVDs are getting very expensive these days. And if you want to get those nice limited edition ones that complete this seasons, man, they sell out so fast, and they're a little bit pricier, especially for us in the colonies over here. But I'm just like, dude, if I can stream it for like $6 a month, that's worth it to me, And maybe one of these days I'll get a library of them, but I don't always, not always in the mood to watch an older one necessarily. Especially some of them are just some of them overstay their welcome. Let me just put it that way. But I but regardless though, I was like fascinated by the lore of this, and it kind of reminded me of my first sci-fi love, Star Wars. And I actually have a Star Wars translate that would go, where Black Knight is right now. So I'll turn it on in a couple days. But um, I was like, wow, they're like the Doctor's been going on for a while. This is really cool. And I like each Doctor for different reasons. I don't think there's a Doctor I haven't really liked. Mostly. And I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that. Maybe another video. But I think now after the Timeless Child, I've had enough time to kind of let it marinate, and I'm like, okay, whatever now. So, I mean, a show has to like grow. And it's the same thing with Last Jedi. If you take this stuff too seriously, you'll just get really aggravated and irritated. and then Hollywood will then, or the BBC will then reboot it anyways and take all this soul out of it. So I guess maybe I should, appreciate that they try to do something different and bold with it. I don't know. Whatever. I'll talk about that later. But um, I just I really love the storytelling in the. I think Doctor Who is successful when it does one of two things. One is that it's interesting when you go to like a new world and you learn about new cultures and you learn about new practices that they have and everything. That's neat. Okay. Usually, unless it's like there's some like third Doctor stories where it's like an oppressive regimen and an oppressive regimen and oppressive. Okay, like okay, we got it. Like it's like the same kind of thing. You just change the costumes around a little bit in the setting, right? But I think Doctor Who stride like hits its stride when it's mysterious. And so when the Doctor's trying to figure this out, when he's trying to figure out what's going on, and you as the audience is trying to figure out what's going on, that's when it succeeds. And I like episodes too where the Doctor knows everything. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry about that. I talk too much with my hands, so um, I like it when the Doctor knows everything, and he's kind of like set it out into kind of practice like what he's going to do. He's kind of like the Seventh Doctor has done this a lot, where he's kind of the mastermind behind everything that's going on, but he doesn't reveal all his cards until like right at the end of the game. And I like that. I think it gives the audience something to look forward to. It's almost like a Goosebumps novel where R.L. Stein would write the ending first, but he doesn't tell you that until the ending, and it makes it much more satisfying. I think when you have these long serials and they're like 7 episodes long, and the new ones don't even do two-parters anymore, except for like I think what was it, season 10 or whatever, Capaldi's sophomore season. That was an interesting uh, concept for better or for worse. There's some episodes in there I loved, but sometimes it was kind of bloated. But the serials when they were like 6 episodes long, 7 episodes long, 8 episodes, it starts to get a little like they're putting too much story into it, and not in a good way, but just filler. Um, this is not a Japanese anime like Dragon Ball Z or something, but I understand they had to like fill some of that airtime. Um, but I will tell you about a story, one of my favorite stories from the Second Doctor. That's 10 episodes long. Sounds awful. You're like, "Ugh, I don't want to listen to us or watch a story that's 10 episodes long." This one actually survived. It's one of the few between the First Doctor and the Second Doctor, one of the few serials that survived in its entirety. It's the War Games, and this is his swan song, and man, it is a wonderful swan song to go out on. It's it's powerful, and it really introduces the Time Lords, kind of talks about that culture. Why have they not brought back the War Lord, like the War Master, and all these guys? And I can't remember their names off the top of my head. And I know I'm going to get some points knocked off of my expertise on this, but hey, sue me. I'm a twin dad. I don't have time for all these details. But it is a great kind of serial to watch, and you'll think all 10 episodes are needed because they do interesting things. It introduces the concept of side rats, which is TARDIS spelled backwards. It's like a remote control TARDIS, and they were like, "Ooh, let's make it a side rat." And I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, so I apologize to all the Whovians out there that I've offended. But it's a phenomenal story, and I like that they force him to regenerate it, and it's just neat. So check it out, and if you're like, man, I don't want to watch 10 episodes, I would highly recommend you do so. Oh, it also has one of the first introductions of the sonic screwdriver in it. Besides the Fury of the Deep, I think they had that, but that's that doesn't survive anymore except for the audio clips. Um, but yeah, maybe one day we'll go into the history of missing Doctor Who episodes and all that. Um, and yeah, I really enjoy that one. And yeah, should we talk a little pinball now? I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. My wife got me Invisiglass from Jersey Jack Pinball, so there you go. I am not a Jersey Jack hater, so there you go. I want all these guys to succeed. Chicago Gaming Company, Spooky Pinball. I want all of them to succeed because it means that pinball is out there in the world. And guys, hey Stern, now is the time. The 60th anniversary is right around the corner. Make another one, dude. I don't think Jersey Jack would do it. I think Stern could because they brought back the Black Knight. They're familiar with Williams and stuff. I don't know if Jersey Jack would, but man, guys, maybe the Mark Seiden. He did the Metroid pinball, um, maybe. But I mean, dude, 60th anniversary Doctor Who pinball machine. And what like here's my vision for it. I'm just gonna go off on a tangent here for just a second, and then I'm gonna close. Um, Really, what I would like to see in a new one is it kind of reflect the old one that Barry Osler did with Bill Futz. Um, if by the way, if you want to hear about his story about making that, I'll put that in the URL. His own personal site. It's so 90s. It's kind of like looking at the Space Jam URL. You're just like you're transported back in time. Maybe that's on purpose, but it's so good to like look at his story and see how he came up with it. You can see the alternate translate on there that Linda Deal did. Really fascinating stuff. Anyways, I would go. I would basically have the new Who characters, and then I would have as you could play as, and then have like the older ones as kind of like assist roles or something like that. Because it's just way too many doctors now. Like the 7 doctors, I think was already a feat enough, and now you have like 15, including the War Doctor. So I mean, that would be an undertaking, I think. So if you had the older ones as an assist role, I think that would be cool. And then you have people who grew up from 2005 on watching the show. They would have plenty to choose from. They could choose Eccleston, they could choose Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, the War Doctor's name, can't remember him now. But and I mean these guys, like I'm sure they'd be happy to do some of the voice work, or at least have like, I mean McCoy. I mean that guy's amazing. Like all the older doctors, you could even get you know Tom Baker back as the curator, and he just is like narrating the whole thing for you. Oh my gosh, mwah, that would be amazing, right? Yeah, I can't do his voice, but that would be so cool if he's like, get the extra ball. I see, I told you. But um, yeah, I would think that would be excellent. Um, War Games, the War Games, I think it's called. Check it out. It's Troughton's last kind of set of episodes. It's 10 episodes long. Go check it out. And thank you. And I'll see you next time.